These are difficult times for all of us, and it's going to get more difficult in the weeks ahead. And the only way we are going to be able to get through this is to do it together by staying apart and preparing our healthcare system to respond. Across Canada, there have been more than 6,000 cases of COVID-19 and 66 deaths. Today, I'm confirming 7 new positive cases of COVID-19 in Prince Edward Island, bringing our total to 18. These 7 cases are related to travel outside of the country, further highlighting the importance of following self-isolation. These cases, 4 are female, 3 are male, ranging in ages, 1 in their 20s, up to 2 in their 70s. My office, or I, spoke to them this morning, and they are at home and doing well. As we continue to see our numbers in Prince Edward Island grow, I will continue to stress the importance of social distancing, physical distancing, as well as social isolation. And for those who are not self-isolating, the physical distancing or social distancing, and we're using both of those terms interchangeably now, it's trying to keep that 2 meters apart. And that physical distancing is important for everyone who is not self-isolating. It is really critical in order for us to slow the spread of COVID-19 here in PEI. And I want to make sure everyone understands what we're asking of Islanders when we speak about physical distancing. Let's start with the fact that everyone needs to remember to stay home as much as possible. If you do need to leave the house, you should practice physical distancing. This means that if you're at the store getting groceries, if you're picking up a prescription, or other things you may need, you are keeping 6 feet between you and others. And certainly over the weekend, it was reported to me and apparently on social media at times when people were not practicing physical distancing. So what is not part of physical distancing needs maybe to be clarified. Physical distancing is not going to visit family and friends. It's not having people over to your home. Physical distancing is not meeting up in groups outside. Physical distancing is not grocery shopping in groups. Physical distancing is not having play dates with other children. And physical distancing is not having coffee with a friend. I too would love to do many of these things, but now is not the time. Right now, the best way we can show our love and appreciation for others is to protect them by staying apart. Over the last weekend, we have strengthened screening measures at Confederation Bridge. With our colleagues from Highway Safety, we are gathering additional information from travelers entering our province. We're asking not only names and contacts, but where they have come from, and if they have a support system to help them gather supplies and support them while they're in self-isolation. And it is trying to get the messages across. Upon entering the province, it is important to self-isolate immediately. This means you do not go to the hardware store, not go to the grocery store. And if those arriving do not have a support system in place here to self-isolate, they should not come. We have almost 600 tests back, which are negative to date, and we are hoping that that number of tests that we have been doing will increase substantially in the next week or 2.
As we see and hear every day, this pandemic persists around the world. We're fortunate to have an incredible team of experts in the Public Health Office under the fearless leadership of Dr. Heather Morrison, working so hard every day to flatten the curve and to keep us safe. Essential healthcare workers and other frontline essential staff are working selflessly so that islanders can be cared for and can access the necessary goods and services we need to live every day. Law enforcement continue to patrol communities and neighborhoods, protecting islanders. All of these brave islanders are working around the clock for islanders. They are sacrificing time with their loved ones for us. They are leaving the comfort and safety of their home for us. They are putting themselves at risk for us. And what are we doing for them? We are putting them at greater risk by not staying home. We have been navigating this situation in our province with Dr. Morrison's expert advice. If I'm being honest, and I will always be honest with islanders, I am disappointed that some still aren't listening to her. She leaned on the goodwill of islanders and asked us to practice social distancing if we had to go out, to self-isolate if we have been traveling out of province. Then she had to tell us to do this because asking nicely didn't work. We brought in fines, significant ones, and engaged law enforcement to ensure islanders are following Dr. Morrison's direction that she is giving to keep us all safe, to keep islanders from getting sick or worse, from dying. This still isn't enough for some of you. So I'm asking the Attorney General to reinforce all island law enforcement to make this a priority and fully enforce Dr. Morrison's directions. The time for education is over. The time for enforcement starts now. No more warnings. Every islander knows what they have to do, and they have to do it now. I am thankful for Dr. Morrison and her steady hand in guiding this ship, and for all islanders who are heeding her words. I am appealing to those of you who still don't get it. COVID-19 is serious. It is here in our province. It is making people sick. Do your part and stay home so you don't get sick or make someone else sick. No one here is invincible. COVID-19 knows no boundaries. It doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult. It doesn't matter your gender, which communities or county you're from, if you have traveled or not. Now more than ever, we have to do everything within our power to protect islanders and to protect our fellow islanders, to protect our loved ones, our neighbors, and our communities. We have to get this right because we don't want to be part of a growing number of cases or worse, deaths. We have to be practical. And we have to recognize that we have to go out of our way, and we have a long way to go before we get to the finish line. I am begging islanders right here, right now, to listen to Dr. Morrison's direction. Stay home as much as possible. Practice social distancing if you have to go out, and self-isolate if you are arriving from out of province. This means you. Almost every day we've been rolling out a number of our government initiatives to address the concerns that we are hearing from islanders. In 2 weeks, there has been a lot of change, but it has been necessary change. It's what islanders need at this time, and our government is working hard to make sure these supports are there for you. Every department is working hard, looking at their programs and what needs to be fast-tracked. I know Ministers McKay and Hudson, I know their departments are working hard at how best to help islanders and the business community navigate these challenging times. And they will be here today to share some more of these new initiatives that they are working on behalf of businesses and islanders. These are extraordinary times, and as I have said times before, it seems that every day we are forced to do something we haven't done before. We take these steps because we can. We are putting these programs in place because islanders need them, and this is money that islanders need to see rolling now. Also, these are the levers at our disposal as a province that we can activate immediately and without having to rely on the federal government or other partners to execute. When we talk about being nimble and flexible, this is an example of that. I want to assure everyone that we will continue to hear from islanders to transform their concerns into solutions that work for them. During these uncertain times, I want every Prince Edward Islander to know that we have your back. We also know that in recent weeks, the recent weeks have jarred our strong economic outlook, and that we will experience immediate, medium, and long-term impacts from COVID-19. We want to work closely with all businesses, those who drive our economy, and those who have been responsible for our recent economic strength as a province, so that we are doing everything we can to minimize the impacts of COVID-19 on our province and looking to the future when we can chart a course to recovery and return to normal, whatever that may be. Through my office and the Department of Economic Growth and Tourism, we have initiated the Premier's Economic Recovery Council, a strategic business working group to get the input of business leaders, the advice, and the discussions to look at options as to how we can best navigate our economy through these unprecedented times. The initial council met for the first time on Saturday to discuss the economic impacts of COVID-19, to discuss provincial and federal emergency programming that has rolled out thus far, and we shared some ideas on where our government and the business community can be working together to best address the gaps from these programs. As a group, we will continue to meet weekly and to work together so that until we get to the other side of this pandemic. These individuals will also consult broadly with others in their personal and business networks, as we need to continue to use an all-hands-on-deck model at this time. Essentially, we want to find creative ways for employers to keep as many employees on the payroll for as long as they can, so they can continue to access benefits, so they continue to have money in their pockets to pay their bills, and so our businesses and communities are best positioned for recovery. This could mean some type of temporary wage subsidy. It could mean accessing skills training upgrades or programming for employees, or any other creative solution that we can work together on to support hardworking Islanders. As an example, one company has changed from one 8-hour shift to 2 7-hour work shifts to allow for effective social distancing in the workplace. Our government was asked to explore an assistance program to temporarily top up the 1 hour of lost wages for those individual employees. That, to me, is a good investment and a really good creative way to help keeping Islanders working at this time. We need and want to see more of that. As part of our efforts to support this initiative, later today we are launching PEI Source Solutions to help island residents and businesses meet the challenges of the pandemic, including the need for medical supplies, virtual care supplies, or to share ideas on how we can help businesses and industries weather the impacts of COVID-19. We know that Islanders are innovative and resourceful, and we have already seen them stepping up to support each other during this unimaginable time. This new online portal will help connect provincial efforts and community support so that we are ready and able to respond to the continuing needs of our province going forward. Our overall message here is twofold. Number one, we want all Islanders to know that as a government, we have your back. We are going to do everything we can within our power to help you get through this difficult stretch. And number two, the reinforcement of the message that we are in this together. Government doesn't have and can't be expected to have all the answers, but we are committed to finding as many answers and solutions as possible. There has always been tremendous creativity and ingenuity within our island business community, and now more than ever, we need to see that come to the surface. We recognize that this is going to require investment, but it's an investment we need to make. We realize that we will need to continue to make it, and we need to be ready to continue to adapt and address issues as they arise. We are prepared to do that, we have been doing that, and we will continue to do that.